Welcome to another lesson. Previously, you learned how to conduct market research and why a detailed plan of specifications are important. Now that you have the information that you should know about the market, it's time to put it into action by starting with a request for information. A request for information, also called an RFI, is a method of collecting information from suppliers before you as procurement manager start to formally source products or services. In simple terms, this is the get-to-know part during the introduction phase. A RFI is usually applied once there are multiple potential suppliers, but there is not enough information about the suppliers. This documentation allows you to gather detailed information about your potential supplier, product, and services before making an informed decision. By issuing an RFI, you can obtain valuable insights into the capabilities, offerings, and pricing of suppliers in your market. The first step in making your own RFI is to write down the basic request details. These details can help suppliers know who sent the RFI and who it's intended for. Some of the information you should include are the number or name of the RFI, your company name, the date when you send the RFI to the company, the name of the project, the deadline by which you expect a response from the company. The second step is to give your suppliers a brief description of your project or what you need. This helps ensure that the supplier or vendor understands and delivers a proposal that precisely matches your requirements. You learned how to do that in the last lesson. By clearly outlining your needs, you can increase the chances of receiving a response that meets your expectations. Additionally, providing a detailed product description helps minimize the risks of misunderstandings and disputes later in the procurement process. By clearly defining the project up front, both you and the supplier can avoid surprises or disagreements that may arise due to unclear or differing expectations. The third step is to review the details or information of the seller that you already have. As you review the details, it's essential to carefully examine the information you already possess. Your objective is to gain a clear understanding of the requirements and identify any potential uncertainties or missing details. Having some context while conducting the assessment can be beneficial, as it allows you to uncover any potential gaps in the information. By thoroughly reviewing the documents and considering the broader picture, you can ensure a more comprehensive evaluation and address any areas that may need clarification. In this step, you will also make your queries clear in order to avoid confusion on the part of the seller. This is due to the fact that no one wants to get fake RFIs. The fourth step is to send your queries to the supplier. Now that you have your queries, it's time for you to finalize them and send them to your potential supplier. In this step, it's important to determine the optimal timing to submit your queries during the tender process, which requires finding the right balance. It's important to avoid bombarding the supplier with new queries for every question that you arise, while also ensuring that you don't delay until the end of the tender period when a supplier may have limited time to respond. The appropriate time or approach depends on several factors. Take into account the length of the tender period. If the period is lengthy, you have more leeway to submit queries at various intervals without overwhelming the supplier. Consider the size and complexity of the project. If the project is significant or complicated, it may be necessary to submit queries earlier to provide the supplier with sufficient time to respond. Assess the completeness of the tender information and the number of queries you have. If the tender information is comprehensive and thorough, you may have fewer queries. However, if there are gaps or uncertainties, it may be necessary to submit queries early to seek clarification. Finally, the last step is to leave or attach a response section. Remember to include a section at the bottom of the RFI where suppliers can provide information about all their products or services. This template should specify the expected response time after they submit the information and outline the criteria used to evaluate the responses. By following the steps, you can easily generate this template. The best part is you don't even have to create it from scratch. It's already done for you, so you can save time and effort. In my time as a procurement manager, I focus almost 60% of my time on finding new suppliers, partly for the procurement of new products, but I mainly conducted my market research to find as many as possible new suppliers as alternatives to my current ones. Having an alternative that can deliver the same products or services as your current suppliers always strengthens your negotiation position as a procurement manager. It was for this reason that I focused 60% of my time on finding new, suitable suppliers. Attending as many conferences and exhibits as possible also always helps in finding new suppliers. We added an article with an extensive list of procurement conference and a supplier questionnaire in the extra reading material of this lesson. After getting a general idea of potential suitable alternative suppliers, I provided them with my RFI, included them in my request for proposal, and if needed, I conducted a supplier visit and audit to make sure the supplier's factories were as good as possible. By the end of this module, I'm sure you will know how to conduct all the steps yourself to come in the lead of your own supplier portfolio. So there you have it. You now know everything about RFI. An RFI allows you to gather information about your supplier capabilities, products and services, and helps you to identify any potential risks or concerns. Thanks for your attention and see you in the next lesson.